Item from Reuters, Dateline, Washington. Yes, this is Riell Truth, and I'm Howard Riell. The U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday threw out an appeals court ruling that struck down President Donald Trump's previous temporary travel ban targeting several Muslim-majority nations, countries that have now expired. In a one-page order, the court acted in one of two cases pending before the 9 justices over Trump's travel ban, a case from Maryland brought by the American Civil Liberties Union, which sued to stop the ban contained in the March executive order. For now, the court did not act on a separate challenge brought by the state of Hawaii, which the court had also agreed to hear. Stop. In other words, thank you, President Trump. His quote-unquote travel ban was exactly the right move. It was completely constitutional, completely within his power as commander-in-chief to enact. And the liberal courts will not succeed in bringing down the United States of America. So for today, this is a victory for the Supreme Court, and it's a victory for the United States of America. We can only hope and pray that Donald Trump gets to name another 2, another 3 Supreme Court justices, and soon, so we can get this country back on track. Item from Breitbart, authorities foiled a Texas man's plan to fly to Florida to lure a 9-year-old girl into having sex with him, police say. Mark Andrew Nichols, 64, of Austin, Texas, allegedly attempted to lure the child with a bag of Sour Patch Kids, Skittles, and a bottle of lubricant, WYFF reports. A detective with the Orlando Police Department hatched a plan to bring Nichols down, posting an advertisement on an e-commerce website posing as the parents of a 9-year-old girl. The ad, which specifically targeted Nichols, was looking for, quote, experienced parents to learn new things about raising little ones, according to the arrest report. WKMG reported Nichols responded to that ad the same day it was posted, saying he was, quote, very interested in the opportunity. My friends, if you are not spying on your kids' internet, then you're not doing your jobs as parents. What about their rights? Forget it. Kids don't have rights. Parents have responsibilities to know who their children are talking to online. That's social media and the internet and email and Facebook and all that junk. Parents need to snoop. It's the only way to keep kids safe in this day and age. It's Wednesday. Riell Truth. Be right back.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228. Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver is not only best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. Let's get right to it. Sean Hannity, Steve Bannon talking about a piece of garbage named Senator Corker. Go. All right, stop. We got a caller on the line. Caller, you there? Whoop. Okay, let's go to the video. This is Senator Bob Corker talking to the New York Times.
Steve Bannon is now launching a new effort to target other anti-Trump Republicans with plans to back primary opponents to nearly every Republican up for re-election. Think Alabama, Roy Moore. He joins us now. He's the executive chairman of Breitbart News. How are you? You know, how you doing? You lost weight since you left the White House. You look
12
good.
pounds.
Oh, good for you.
Feel great.
He's so arrogant. He's such an elitist snob. He's the swamp. The Senate hasn't done a thing, Steve. Nothing.
The American people see right here. This is what they think about President Trump behind closed doors. He happened to tell the New York Times exactly what he thought. It's totally unacceptable. In a time of war, we have troops in Afghanistan, in the Northwest Pacific in Korea. We have a major problem that could be like World War I, in the South China Sea, in the Persian Gulf. We have American lives at risk every day. He tweets on Sunday that it's like the adult center and somebody didn't have the morning shift. And then he has the audacity to go to the New York Times and to give this.
He didn't know that was going to air. He didn't know they were going to release that.
I think, by the way, I'm not sure that he knew it was going to be a tape, but he gave those guys an on-the-record interview. You saw that in the New York Times. And by the way, Phil Rucker, yesterday in the Washington Post, the buried lead was, he said there's only 2 or 3 senators on Capitol Hill that have President Trump's back. When you want to talk about why there's no repeal and replace, why there's no tax cut, why there's no tax reform, why there's no infrastructure bill, you saw it right there. Corker, McConnell, and Corker and the entire clique, establishment globalist clique on Capitol Hill, have to go. And if we need any more proof about what they think, you heard it tonight, it's an absolute disgrace.
I've been told by people in the room, Ben Sass, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Corker, and even McConnell, they trash the president, but yet they can't get any of their promises completed. They are the swamp. Republicans are weak and pathetic, and they're lacking in identity, and the forgotten men and women that voted this election are being let down.
Look, they have total contempt for the forgotten man. They have total contempt for the base. That's what you saw in Alabama. In Alabama, where they came in with Luther Strange with $32 million to destroy Judge Moore, you saw what the base thought of them, right? The base totally rejected them. These people have no respect for the working men and women in the United States. And I tell you what, Senator Corker is an absolute disgrace. And I agree with Jason Miller, who is the comms director on our campaign. I think one of the best comms people around. Jason's on CNN, but he never talks out of school.
So sorry to hear that.
On CNN today, he called for Senator Corker to resign.
I agree with him.
For the governor of Tennessee to replace him with Marsha Blackburn, a real conservative. If Bob Corker has any honor, any decency, he should resign immediately. He should not let those words stand what he said about the president.
He wouldn't win, Steve. That's why he's really getting out.
By the way, he got out because he saw what happened in Alabama. If he wants to, by the way, he should get back in because he's going to get crushed.
Marsha Blackburn would kill him.
He's going to get crushed in a primary. He doesn't have the guts to get in. So if he doesn't have the guts to get back in the race, he should resign.
All right, here's a question. How does the president's agenda, if he's got hostile Republicans that are apparently willing to go on a suicide mission, if they don't get anything accomplished, they don't get the budget done, they can't repeal and replace, they don't even want to fund the border wall. If they don't do those things, they're going to suffer in 2018. President Trump's not up till 2020.
They have to understand There's a basic agenda that President Trump ran on and won. He carried states that Republicans haven't carried in living memory. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. This agenda works. The American people voted for it. It's their responsibility. By the way, McConnell would not be majority leader unless Trump in North Carolina, in Missouri, in Wisconsin was able to carry those senators across the finish line. It is incumbent upon them to back President Trump's plan, but you don't see it. What you saw what Corker said today is what they talk about on Capitol Hill. That's when I left the White House. Remember, I said, I'm going after the Republican establishment, and we're going to go after them. We're going to challenge. There's a coalition coming. There's a coalition coming together that's going to challenge every Republican incumbent except for Ted Cruz, whether it's Utah, Wyoming, whether it's in
Orrin
Nevada,
Hatch in Utah.
Orrin Hatch in Utah. Today, Boyd Matheson, who is the chief of staff for Mike Lee, came out and said that he's going to set up an exploratory committee.
North Dakota.
In North Dakota, we don't have it. That's Hobbs County. But we're going. By the way, we're going in Mississippi against Wicker.
Who you pick? McDaniel.
McDaniel, Mississippi. These names are all going to come out over the next couple of weeks. There's going to be about
so it's
50.
not going to be. I know a lot of people didn't like in 2010, for example, Delaware. Well, I thought Christine O'Donnell was a nice woman, but you're picking rock solid credentialed candidates.
We're spending a ton of time with the grassroots organizations to make sure that these candidates are fully vetted. You're going to see people announced this week that are going to have experience in government. You're going to see some outsiders that are authentic, and these people are real. It's not like 2010. 2010 was the beginning of the Tea Party when things were first getting going. You're going to see real candidates, and by the way, they're going to take on incumbents in every state, and they're going to take on the Democrats after
You said in the 60 Minutes interview you're a street fighter. I'm a street fighter, too.
I noticed that.
Okay, you noticed that? I'm not supporting any Republican incumbent that hasn't gotten their job done. Not one, Steve. I refuse. They have betrayed the American people. They have betrayed their promises. How do you make a promise for 7.5 years and not fulfill it?
My friends, this is what I've been telling you since the campaign, the presidential campaign. It's Trump and a small handful of people against the swamp that has been stealing your life and your future. They've been dominating the American people, controlling the American people, swindling and robbing from the American people. Trump is the only one fighting him. He's got some people helping, like Steve Bannon, like Hannity, like a handful of people in his administration. That's why it's up to us to support this movement. Trump, Bannon, Rush Limbaugh, Hannity, they're pushing for true conservatives to take office around the country, and if that doesn't happen, we're done. We'll take a break. We'll be back, my friends. Real Truth, it marches on.
Clean power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to greatplains.com.
The Lord remains the counsel of the nation, but not by he makes the plans to people of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation. God is the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. Not all men are created equal. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. More of the leading voices in the intellectual right here in America and culture on the Mark Simone Show. Go!
And I always thought it was unfair for MSNBC to give him a show at that young age. I'd watch it now and then, and it wasn't hateful, but he was too young for it anyway. And then they were mean to him when they got rid of him. He indicated, incidentally, they were mean to him again, that this was, I think, originally, he obviously wasn't going to, or maybe wasn't allowed to, defame NBC, for whom he is still a contributor, but it was their story. He did it for them, and the reporting held up. That wasn't the problem. NBC refused to go with it.
Well, NBC is business partners with Harvey on a number of projects.
Oh, come on!
NBC Universal, they make movies together. He supplies TV for them, Project Runway, for example. So
yeah, and somehow whomever does Access Hollywood managed to illegally leak a hot mic tape of Trump, which is, I mean, one of the great things that about Ronan's interview last night was he was actually talking about this case, as opposed to every other discussion I've heard on TV about these really stunningly detailed and disgusting allegations, which is to immediately spend the segment talking about Roger Ailes, Bill O'Reilly, and Donald Trump.
Yeah. No, this stuff is pretty bad. Hey, the other good news, as long as we have you here, Megyn Kelly, ratings down 32%. How about that?
Your Twitter feed is so hilarious. I'm friends with her, but your tweets have been hilarious, I will say. The only thing...
You didn't see the latest I just sent.
Well, the only thing... it's too early for me anyway. But her show. The only thing I will say, and bringing it right back to Harvey Weinstein, you'll notice.
Well, apparently the show is so bad, even Harvey Weinstein closed his room. But I didn't say that.
Oh, you know I hate Catskills humor. Anyway, you know Lauren Sivan. She's a local reporter out in L.A. She used to do the overnights at Fox News. Well, for years now...
You actually know her?
Yeah, we're friends. So she's told the story, her name has come out now, about being cornered in a hallway at a restaurant by Harvey Weinstein, and he masturbates into a plant, and she's kind of trapped there, just standing there twiddling her thumbs, goes back up, and the next day he calls her and says, I had a great time last night.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Well, the point is... We've heard this story. She's told us this story in bars.
Really?
If you know Lauren at all, she is very smart. She is very funny. In the bar version of the story, it's hilarious. She's not the victim. Harvey Weinstein is the victim. He comes across as a ridiculous character with her rolling her eyes, and we're all screaming with hilarity about it. She goes on the Megyn Kelly show to talk about it. And it's something about that Barbara Walters interview style.
Yeah.
How did you feel? I was so appalled. Suddenly Lauren has been switched to the victim here. I mean, in a technical sense, she is. Don't get me wrong. But her version of it was, I would say, to use modern feminist lingo, much more empowering. The bar version is a lot funner.
Hey, but I never knew this, that he called the next day like it was a great time and let's go out again.
I know, that's what I mean. Her real version is funny. It wasn't weepy, I felt degraded.
Well, I can't believe Megyn Kelly would deliberately sensationalize something. This is not the Megyn I know.
It's sensationalizing. It's and I didn't see it. I just saw some clips of Lauren talking about. It's just, you know, this emoting, this girly thing where we always have to be victims. Incidentally, I just when I was making my coffee before, so I could be perky talking to you, Mark, I heard some woman on, I think, MSNBC talking about the Weinstein thing. And it's always been a really big thing with the feminists that this isn't about sex, it's about power, which, you know, I'm fine with. I never really understood what difference it makes. It's still disgusting and gross.
Well, for me, it's about the sex. You can have the power.
Right. But she made this, it just reminded me that this feminist argument about how it's so outrageous to ask a woman who's accusing a man of some sort of sexual assault what she was wearing. And I'm sure you've all heard that. And, you know, in some circumstances, I would agree with that. But she compared it to no one asks a robbery victim what he was wearing. Well, yeah, but we do ask what neighborhood he was in, what he was doing, whether he was flashing his wallet around, whether he was drunk. These are normal questions in the sense that, you know, as a potential victim, you want to know, don't do these things.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. And I think this is only the tip of the iceberg. There's more coming, and there's more names, other producers coming soon.
Well, I hope so, and I hope the names come out, and also the protection racket comes out. That's what's really so, I mean, contrary to Roger Ailes, Bill O'Reilly, Donald Trump, you accuse a conservative, and no one's going to look deeply into the story. Yeah. Remember those three batty women who came forward toward the end of the 2016 campaign against Trump? You know lots of people and women who have worked for Trump organizations. I know them, including a really hot makeup artist. And a masseuse down at Mar-a-Lago. You run into these people, and they've all told me each one that Trump was an absolute gentleman. The New York Times had that massive report. Remember, it was like 6 months of investigation into how Donald Trump treats women. And, you know, the worst thing was he had told a woman she looked great in her bikini, and that woman then became his girlfriend.
Yes, well, in between marriages, I have stood next to him as he's picked up thousands of women. I have never seen anything except the most formal, total gentleman.
Well, except me not believing the first part, totally believe that. But then these women come forward, including that woman on the plane who claimed in the first class cabin he starts lifting up her shirt and feeling her breast. And there was another guy on the plane. I mean, Donald Trump has been a well-known person for a while who said, I was sitting there. This didn't happen. Okay, that's one of the claims that MSNBC and CNN are all talking about whenever, oh, yes, but Donald Trump, he's been accused too. No, if you accuse a Democrat, that's when you get a lot worse than what were you wearing. It's that she's trailer park trash. Remember how Jennifer Flowers were treated? You accuse a conservative, and you know, you're Joan of Arc. So obviously there are going to be more false allegations against conservative men, while there's an entire protection racket well beyond the organization itself for a man like Bill Clinton or Harvey Weinstein.
Well, hey, we don't have much time. We've got about like a minute left. But the Trump fight with Bob Corker, when the news media says one of the most respected, revered senators, most people hate these guys. They love seeing them slapped around.
No, I was very disappointed when Trump was, I assume this was just to butter him up, but talking about taking Corker as vice president. All you need to know is that he was one of the 14 senators to enthusiastically sign up for Marco Rubio's amnesty bill.
Yeah. Well, Ann Coulter, always great talking to you. When's the new column? Tomorrow?
Tonight for the truly assiduous Ann Coulter readers, and tomorrow in most places.
All right, guys, let's see what Ann Coulter has to say elsewhere about this Harvey Weinstein thing, because it's got liberals dead to rights.
We're now joined on the phone by Ann Coulter, the best-selling.
organization, which is apparently what they're now finally doing. When Todd Aiken, someone no one had ever heard of, made an awkward remark about abortion, very bad for Republicans, there wasn't a Republican on the face of the earth who wasn't asked about it. It was an election year. Romney had to respond to that. Didn't Anthony Weiner actually work for Chuck Schumer? Where the cameras and of course all the money that was accepted by
was
Schumer?
His mentor. Everybody describes Chuck Schumer as Anthony Weiner's mentor. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I keep flashing between the two of them, but it's basically the same case. Chuck Schumer and Hillary Clinton also got loads of money from Harvey Weinstein. Why are reporters not camped out on Hillary's lawn demanding comment on this? Why isn't Schumer asked to? Why isn't he asked for comment not only on Weinstein, but to send the money back? And how about we see the computers that Anthony Weiner was using in Chuck Schumer's office? Was he aware of any of this? No, there was no.
I have some chilling sound for you. This is Harvey Weinstein talking about what he and Bill Clinton used to do together. Listen to this.
And I'm going to tell you, the president and I saw so many movies together. I'm not kidding, by the way. We saw so many movies together.
All I can think, Howie, is, wow, that is a guy I would like to see showering.
Is that a guy you'd like to watch? What kind of movies do you think he and Bill Clinton watched together, by the way, Ann?
He could not be a more perfectly repellent human being. I mean, if this were, I don't know, Mel Gibson, Denzel Washington, you would not have, I've been traveling a lot this week, and the story broke. I don't know if all your listeners will remember, and I'm sure you will, Howie, the mentioned in Adios America, by the way, the Loretta Bobbitt story where she chopped off her husband's penis. And when I was traveling back then, I remember you'd be sitting on an airplane, and you could tell by the body language of the males around you that they were reading about the Loretta Bobbitt story. And I'm telling you, that's how females are reacting to reading about the Harvey Weinstein story. You can see them, like, visibly cringing.
Yeah. Well, I know the New York Times has to worry about libel and all that stuff, but you read the story, and again, we've been over a lot of this earlier, but I just want to get your take on it. They say this woman, Rose McGowan, who's a famous a big-time actress now, she got $100,000 for an incident. That's how the New York Times describes it. An incident in a hotel room.
My friends, I will go public and say that I volunteer to watch Weinstein shower if he'll give me $100,000. Take that to the bank. I would. $100,000, I would do it. Think what you want.
The most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. The Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formula at BioAge.com. Spelled BioAge.com. BioAge.com. Or call 877-288-9116. 877-288-9116. Grid power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be stable to any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom catered capabilities of emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power consumption will be just by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's $29.63 or go to greatplainsilver.com. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. The people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Alright guys, the reason I'm staying with this Harvey Weinstein thing is because it so very, very perfectly illustrates what cowards and frauds and what hypocrites Hollywood liberals are. These are the guys who use their notoriety and their fame and their celebrity to get in front of a microphone and lecture you and me on how we should live and what we should think. And it turns out these people are losers. Here's Rush Limbaugh.
Folks, but I want to get this Weinstein stuff out of it. Oh, speaking of which, we have a statement from Bill Clinton on this. He somehow strangely is omitted in all of these stories. It's uncanny. Like this thing from the New Yorker that just popped. You see Ailes' name all over it. You see O'Reilly's name all over it. It's a story. 3 women have accused Weinstein of rape. That's 2 more than have accused Clinton of rape. So I guess Hillary can take some solace in that. But still, you don't find Bill Clinton's name in this or many of the other stories. But Bill Clinton has a statement on the upcoming rehabilitation of Harvey.
Now, William Jefferson Clinton on the rehabilitation of Harvey Weinstein.
My fellow Americans, I'm here today on behalf of an old family friend, Harvey Weinstein, who is right now making amends for some unfortunate
Come on.
behavior. But it will take some time. Harvey is an old dinosaur learning new tricks.
Come back to Papa.
Trick number 1,
Harvey, shut the door. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
everyone in Hollywood loves Harvey's power and money, and we will forgive and forget the fact that for a moment He lost control of himself and acted like Donald Trump for 30 years. 30 years. Soon, he will be a changed man who respects women for who they are, not for their... Trick number 2, wait until you are rehabilitated to do it again.
William Jefferson Clinton on the rehabilitation efforts of Harvey Weinstein. That was obviously produced in a hotel suite somewhere. It's great to have you here, folks, as we're off and running on another 3 hours of broadcast excellence. Here's Harvey Weinstein. She basically said, this is a woman that designs clothes for women to wear. And she said, is it maybe our fault? Is it maybe the women's fault? Are these women dressing too sensuously, too sexually? Here's how it sounded.
I think we have to look at ourselves. How do we display ourselves? How do we present ourselves as women? What are we asking? Are we asking for it? You know, by presenting all the sensuality and all the sexuality? You know, and what are we throwing out to our children today?
Holy cliche, Batman, for crying out loud. Do you realize how this sets back the movement of the feminazis? This is the kind of thing that in the early days of this that men would offer as a defense. Hey, look at the way they're presenting themselves to me. They're coming in here, they're scantily clad, they're showing off things, they're walking seductively. They want it. Remember guys would say that? And remember how they were raked over the coals being insensitive and disrespectful? Here comes Donna Karen, who is the generation of Streisand, so she'd be, what, about 95 now? And she's echoing these sentiments. Blame the women. Blame the victim. I'm surprised it took hours for her to walk this back, but it did. Now, here is the same, we have another soundbite here from the same event she was at, this Fashion Film Awards event, dinner, whatever it was. She continued speaking.
I don't think it's only Harvey Weinstein. I don't think we're only looking at him. I think we're looking at a world much deeper than that. He's being looked at right now, you know, as a symbol, not necessarily as him. I know his wife. I think they're wonderful people. Harvey's done some amazing things. I think we have to look at our world and what we want to say and how we want to say it as well.
Yeah, he's a slime bag. He's a groper. He molests women, intimidates women, uses his power and money to demean people, to destroy people, but he and his wife are real nice folks. That's a liberal talking. What about all the real nice folks in Hollywood who knew for 20, 25, 30 years that Weinstein was doing this and said nothing? And by saying nothing, enabled an entire new generation to be accosted. And what about the actresses themselves? You know, you can advance in Hollywood two different ways. You can be a really great actress, or you can cozy up to people who can make you successful. Speaking of which, look at Hollywood actresses in general. I said this yesterday. Everybody screams about the casting couch, and of course it's terrible. But how many actresses in Hollywood, my guess would be a lot, look for the casting couch, invite the casting couch, bring their own casting couch? Because they know the way to get ahead. I won't even finish that sentence. Hollywood is a liberal sleaze pit. Don't take any advice, any lecturing. Don't take any viewpoints from the nitwits, the elitist, nitwit hypocrites in Hollywood. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. To them, we are the unwashed masses. You want a role model today? Look to Donald Trump. Look to Howard Riell. I'm not above saying that. Do what your gut tells you is right. Do what's traditionally been the moral, ethical thing. Don't listen to movie stars and musicians and nitwits like that. Because they don't know and they don't care. All right, we'll take a break. We'll continue, my friends. Don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Herb.
Well, it had to happen. When Colorado legalized marijuana, most people thought the Green Herb was a marijuana future. Also, it was legalized on January the 1st, 2014. The same day we opened our new location at 1465 Kimball Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-70. There are 83,000 cars a day passing in front of our new location on Kimball Street, and most of them thought we were a marijuana dispensary. So we changed the name of our retail store to New Genesis Health, but we kept the name of our Green Herb Supplement. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Now this is the testimony of John, the Jew and priest of Levi, to ask him, who are you? He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, I am not the Messiah. And they asked him, what then? Are you Elijah? He said, I am not. Are you the prophet? And he answered, no. Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates of the 24-hour super. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, vessels of the courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women of the defense put the bill for our freedom every day. There's a military community to let us know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Mountain. They're on the air because they care.
By the way, my friends, I forgot to mention that because tonight begins the final round of the holiday, Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah, I will not be on the air tomorrow. So today is the end of the broadcast week. Make the most of it. Here's Mark Levin talking about the NFL. My friends, be honest. What's the difference between Mark Levin and me? I can tell you. If you want to know, I'm happy to tell you. Mark Levin gets paid a ton of money. Item from Breitbart. There's one thing you don't have to worry about when asking Mike Ditka a question, and that's not getting a straight answer. He says, quote, "There's been no oppression in this country in the last 100 years that I'm aware of. I don't care who you are, how much money you make. If you don't respect our country, then you shouldn't be in this country playing football. Go to another country and play football. If you had to go somewhere else and try to play the sport, you wouldn't have a job. If you don't respect this flag in this country, then you don't know what it's all about. I would say adios." We'll be back.
Stop. Simplify your supplementation with vitamin
Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Kids, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of 10. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain, with focus, memory, liberty, and food. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com. Spelled BioAge.com. BioAge.com. Or call 877-288-9116. 877-288-9116. BioAge. And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. You look at the blocker plan, and it reminds us that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at our meeting. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to know the drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's promoted at the blocker plan, located at 366 Grand Street in Louisville, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized HB and pork and complete custom process. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240.
Guys, we're almost done. Remember, we're not on the air tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday. If you get to missing me over the next few days, you can get my book on Kindle. You can get it on the internet. Stay angry. Riell Truth, stay angry. You'll enjoy it. Item from InfoWars. Simone Sanders, a Democratic strategist and political commentator for CNN, ripped into conservative Ben Ferguson, also a CNN commentator, for daring to complain about the NFL kneeling protests, saying white people have no right telling black people what to do. Unquote. My friend Simone Sanders is a nitwit and a racist. Item from statnews.com. If House Speaker Paul Ryan comes down with the flu this winter, he and his security detail won't be screeching off toward the closest CVS for his Tamiflu. Instead, he can just walk downstairs, pick up the pills, part of a little-known perk open to every member of Congress, from Ryan, the Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, down to the newest freshman Democrat. Nearly every day for at least 2 decades, pharmaceutical drugs have been brought by the carload to the Capitol, an arrangement so under the radar, even the pharmacy lobbyists who regularly pitch Congress on their industry are not aware of it. The deliveries arrive at the secretive Office of the Attending Physician, an elaborate medical clinic where Navy doctors triage medical emergencies and provide basic health care for lawmakers who pay an annual fee of just over $600. Everyone comes from Washington's oldest community pharmacy, Grubbs. Unquote. My friends, listen to me. Stop voting for incumbents. These people have made themselves an aristocracy over us, and here's more evidence of it. If members of Congress, that's the Senate and the House, had to live with the same health care that you and I have, they would get out of public service fast. They forge different rules for themselves. It's not fair. It's not American. The fat cats have got to go. Item from the Hill. Republicans on Capitol Hill fear that Stephen Bannon's plan to wage primary challenges against incumbent senators will put the majority at risk in 2018. Stop! That's not what it will do. It will put the swamp at risk. That's what they're afraid of. Item from ESPN. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive lineman Gerald McCoy, speaking on Adam Schefter's Know Them From Adam podcast, said he thinks there, quote, might be an uproar if NFL players are forced to stand for the national anthem. Unquote. Hey, Mr. McCoy, you don't have to stand for the national anthem. You can take a knee if you want. Then go get a job digging ditches. Item from CBS. Football player at Division III Albright College in Reading has been dismissed from the team after taking a knee during the national anthem on Saturday. Unquote. My friends, that's another reason why this protest thing is so toxic, because they're influencing the minds of young people who don't know very much, who look up to these meathead jocks, think they have all the answers. When in fact, meathead jocks are, to no one's surprise, meatheads who've been given a pass their whole lives, who don't think for a living, don't have to have an IQ for a living, don't have to read books to make a living. They just have to be strong and big and slam into people really hard. And those are the people who are influencing the next generation of Americans. That may be the greatest tragedy to come out of this NFL debacle. Player takes a knee, fire his ass. Let him go work in a mall somewhere. I'll be back on Monday with more Real Truth. My friends, stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay angry.